the new channel? Checking in. On this episode of Caffeine Corner, I'm going to be talking about how I put my iPhone camera on steroids and why I use a camera phone in order to shoot almost all of my YouTube content. Now, if this is your first time to the Caffeine Corner, all we do is drink a little caffeine and hit a topic of the day. And today's topic is going to be how I shoot my YouTube videos, why I chose my iPhone to do it, and how I put the bad boy on the juice. Woo! The reason for today's video, I just got a new phone, aka a new camera for the YouTube channel. And I wanted to give you the top 3 reasons that I got my new phone / camera and why I don't use a DSLR or a mirrorless camera for my highly successful YouTube channel. First and foremost, my previous camera was 2.5 years old, my iPhone 11 Pro, and it's been running like a champ. No issues with it, and in fact, it's been operating better than it ever had for a reason I'll let you know in a second. However, the main reason I ended up shelling out a serious boatload of money for this iPhone 13 Pro is because of the storage. Part of the problem with my iPhone 11 is that I had 256 gigabytes of storage, and for many of you, that is way more than you're ever going to need. But for shooting content, unfortunately, especially the type of steroid-filled content that I shoot, you end up being right at the cusp. And every week I was trying to remove content from the phone in order to make space to shoot more content. And I got caught with my hand in the cookie jar a couple times where I actually deleted content that I hadn't bothered to upload yet, or I uploaded it, but there was an issue with the upload. Unfortunately, it resulted in lost videos, which is no bueno. So the main reason ultimately that I ended up getting this iPhone was for the storage. I got this iPhone 13 Pro, 1 terabyte, way more than I should ever need, but hopefully something that will last me more than 2.5 years, if not longer. Typically when people get phones, they get camera phones, they get phones, they do tend to change them out every 2 years or even 2.5 years. Sometimes it's because the phones break. Sometimes it's because they just become antiquated. But usually that 2.5 year mark is right around where people decide this thing isn't acting as crisp and as fast as it used to. So it's time to get the latest and greatest. One obvious improvement right out the gate is that the iPhone 13 Pro is faster and has a better camera than the 11. That's why they call it the 13 and not the 11. Obviously, with smartphones, every iteration not only gets faster, but they improve the camera because people are using that camera so much. That's not how I got my iPhone camera to be juiced to the gills. And that's not the reason that I don't bother to use a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. So most YouTubers that are highly successful, like myself, do end up going with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera for their footage. Reason being is the quality level is extremely high. It ends up being able to compensate for extremely dark or extremely bright scenarios rather easily. And with an external microphone, the audio is crisp without having to have too much fanfare. So why don't I bother to upgrade to one of those cameras? 3 main reasons. Number 1 is cost. Now, I like to have transparency, so I will tell you this brand new phone cost me $1648. Yeah, it was that much with the insurance package and the fact that I went up to the 1 terabyte hard drive. So it was a high chunk of change. In fact, I didn't even bother to turn in my old phone because I wanted to use that as a backup phone. That's the phone I am using right now to shoot this video. However, DSLR cameras and mirrorless cameras, you can get them for under $1,000 quite easily. However, as you try to get higher and better quality, whether you want to shoot in 4K, that price point only goes up from there. The other reason I avoid those cameras is, frankly, they are bigger, bulkier, and I am less likely to have them on me. When is the last time you went anywhere and didn't have your phone on you? We are attached to the hip on these things, quite literally. So having a bigger camera is going to be more awkward. It's going to be more difficult for me to shoot in different locations outside of the office. And unfortunately, it's something that I'm not necessarily going to want to carry around with me, limiting a lot of the shooting and video recording that I take when I am on the go. Now, I will say that many people do love GoPros. I have a GoPro 10 and I love it. Every time I am outside, I try to use the GoPro 10 because it's quick, easy, and it just gets great footage. But it is an outside action camera. It's meant to be shot outside. Even with all my studio lighting on, this camera is not going to have a well-lit location. It's going to look very, very dark in here. The other problem with this camera when I am shooting in general is that I need to have it shot outside, but as we know, the outside world doesn't usually cooperate. I was going to shoot this video outside on my back deck because it's gorgeous out right now. However, it's so nice out, my neighbor decided to cut his grass. So well, that's not his problem, that's my problem. I wasn't going to be able to use this and actually get any usable audio. The third, final, and the biggest reason I haven't bothered to transition away from my cell phone camera is because of Filmic Pro. For those of you who don't know, that is a paid app on your smartphone, Android and iPhone, that just puts the biggest amount of steroids into your camera. It is a program that takes your camera, throws in Borg technology, and the next thing you know, your camera is shooting better than a high-end DSLR camera, and it is only $15. So one of my buddies who's deep into film creation told me about this program, and I didn't believe him. But I looked into it, and goddamn was he right. For $15, a one-time fee, it's not recurring. Once you pay it, you own it. You get the Filmic Pro app. What that does is it takes your camera and it gives you a whole bunch of more options for setting up situations with your lighting, with your exposure, the whole gambit. It makes everything look a hell of a lot better. It improves stabilization. Even if you have an older phone, you will be amazed at the improvement of that camera quality with that $15 Filmic Pro purchase. Like I said, I'm a cheapskate and you're going to get way more value for that price point. You can buy their entire package of apps for $25, which is what I did. That comes with a photo version of their software, allowing you to really amp up your photography if that's something that you're into, and it comes with a remote version. What does that mean? It means I can control that iPhone with this iPhone to make sure that my head's in the photo, to make sure I've got all of the bells and whistles set up specifically to how I want before I hit that record button. If you haven't already, comment down below what you're using to create your content on. Is it your smartphone? Is it going to be a DSLR? Is it a mirrorless phone? Or is it a GoPro action camera? I'm always curious what people are using. As far as the caffeine aspect of today's video, that was sponsored by Monster Energy. These double packs I found in my grocery store, man, they are fun. These Ultra Paradises are absolutely delicious, and the price point wasn't too bad either. My favorite is going to be the Ultra Paradise. The Ultra Watermelon, pretty good as well, but the Paradise gets a solid 8.8 on my flavor scale, and the Watermelon comes in at a respectable 8.1. Coming in with 0 sugar, but it does have a couple carbohydrates per can. Not too bad overall for an exciting, refreshing energy bump. If you came this far in the video, you and I are officially Tango and Cash. Thanks so much for coming to the end of the video. Give it a like, hit that red subscribe button, and as usual, don't save anything for the trip back.